In much of the world, Easter is a religious holiday. In the United States, it's also a candy holiday. Each year, Americans spend billions of dollars on Easter treats, chocolate bunnies, jelly beans, and above all, peanut butter eggs. But this transformation didn't happen by accident. It's rooted in the vision of a man who believed that chocolate should be for everyone, not just the elite. Milton Hershey was more than a businessman. He was an industrialist, an idealist, and the founder of a company town that still bears his name. From a modest stretch of Pennsylvania farmland, he built a chocolate empire, and in the process, helped redefine how Americans celebrate Easter. This is the story of Hershey, Pennsylvania, and the man behind it. It's a story about how a place can shape a person, how that person can shape a holiday, and how chocolate became central to an American springtime tradition. Milton Hershey was born in 1857 in Derry Township, Pennsylvania, an area of rolling farmland and tight-knit rural communities. His family's life was unstable. His father, a restless entrepreneur, frequently moved the family in pursuit of schemes that rarely succeeded. His mother, by contrast, valued discipline, hard work, and frugality. She insisted her son learn a trade and stay grounded. The region itself reinforced those values. Central Pennsylvania was not wealthy, but it was practical. Small farms and modest businesses were the backbone of the area, and success was often measured by reliability rather than risk. It was an environment that rewarded persistence, even as Milton struggled to find his footing. He began his working life as a printer's apprentice, then pivoted to candy making after a failed apprenticeship. Over the next 15 years, he launched and lost multiple candy businesses across Pennsylvania and Colorado. Each failure brought him back to the values he'd grown up with: resilience, repetition, and responsibility. His big break came not in chocolate, but caramel. In the 1890s, he finally found success with the Lancaster Caramel Company, which used fresh milk in its recipes, a technique he would later adapt for chocolate. Even then, he stayed rooted in Pennsylvania. He rejected offers to move operations to larger cities, preferring to invest in the familiar farmland near his birthplace. By the time he sold his caramel business for a fortune, Milton Hershey had already made a choice that would define the rest of his life. He would build something lasting, not in a financial capital, but on the same soil that had shaped him. Milton Hershey sold his caramel company in 1900 for $1 million, a substantial fortune at the time. But he wasn't done. He had already become interested in chocolate making after visiting the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago, where he saw a demonstration of German chocolate processing equipment. He purchased the machinery on the spot and began experimenting with mass-producing milk chocolate in the United States. At the time, milk chocolate was still a luxury product, largely imported from Switzerland and priced for the upper classes. Hershey's goal was different. He wanted to produce chocolate on a scale and at a cost that made it accessible to ordinary Americans. To do that, he needed more than just machines. He needed a factory and a workforce, and for that he turned to his roots. In 1903, on farmland just a few miles from his birthplace, construction began on the new Hershey factory. But Hershey didn't just build a production facility, he built an entire town around it. Streets were laid out, homes were constructed, and services like schools, parks, and a trolley system were added. Hershey, Pennsylvania, became a model of industrial planning fused with social responsibility. The town was designed to reflect the values he had grown up with: clean, orderly, and community-focused. In return, he expected loyalty, hard work, and attention to detail from his workers. The result was an efficient and motivated workforce, capable of producing high-quality chocolate in large quantities. By 1905, Hershey's milk chocolate bars were rolling off the line. They were consistent, affordable, and widely distributed, exactly as he had intended. And with that, the foundation was laid for a new kind of chocolate culture in the United States. As we delve deeper into Milton Hershey's legacy, you bring these stories to life. Keep liking and sharing to help me continue this journey. Don't forget to subscribe and share your insights in the comments as we continue to explore the world together. In the early 20th century, chocolate was still closely associated with Europe, where it had been refined into an art form. In Zurich, confectioners like Rodolphe Lindt had perfected the conching process, producing smooth, delicate chocolate aimed squarely at the upper classes. Swiss chocolate emphasized quality, craftsmanship, and exclusivity. It was a product for those who could afford indulgence. Across the Channel, Birmingham became the base of the Cadbury brothers, whose Quaker values shaped a different kind of chocolate tradition. The Cadburys built Bournville, a model village for their workers, and emphasized ethical business practices, including health, education, and fair wages. Their chocolate was more accessible than Switzerland's, but still positioned as a refined product for a respectable middle class. Milton Hershey took yet another path. His chocolate was not meant for elites or social reformers. It was meant for everyone. By relying on large-scale production, standardized recipes, and distribution through general stores and train depots, Hershey helped bring chocolate to a mass audience in the United States. Where Zurich focused on taste and Birmingham on virtue, Hershey focused on scale. His factory could produce thousands of bars per day, each identical and priced within reach of most Americans. And while both Lindt and Cadbury had roots in older, denser cities, Hershey's factory town rose out of open farmland, designed with growth in mind. This emphasis on access changed more than chocolate. It helped shift how holidays like Easter were celebrated. No longer reserved for grand boxes or imported gifts, chocolate became a common presence in American homes, wrapped in foil, sold by the bag, and affordable enough to fill an entire basket. Milton Hershey may have made chocolate widely available, but the next great innovation in American candy came from someone who had once worked under him. Harry Burnett Reese was a former dairy employee on a Hershey-owned farm who, in the 1920s, began making his own confections out of his basement in nearby Hershey, Pennsylvania. Reese experimented with a variety of candy combinations, but one stood out: a simple blend of sweetened peanut butter coated in Hershey's milk chocolate. In 1928, he launched the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. The product was a local hit and eventually grew into a national phenomenon, aided by Reese's use Hershey chocolate in all his products. After Reese's death in 1956, his sons managed the business until Hershey acquired the H.B. Reese Candy Company in 1963 through a stock deal. What began as a modest spin-off near the original factory had now become one of Hershey's flagship brands. Today, Reese's Eggs are the top-selling Easter candy in the United States. They outsell bunnies, truffles, and jelly beans, and appear in shelves weeks before the holiday. Their popularity is tied not only to their taste, but also to the same principle that guided Hershey's original vision: consistent quality, wide availability, and affordable indulgence. The peanut butter egg was not Milton Hershey's creation, but it grew in the ecosystem he built, on the same farmland, using the same chocolate and driven by the same idea. Just as Hershey reshaped chocolate, Reese reshaped how Americans consume it during Easter. Milton Hershey died in 1945, but his influence remains deeply embedded in the town that carries his name. Unlike many industrialists of his era, he invested not just in production, but in people. His most enduring contribution outside of chocolate may be the Milton Hershey School, founded in 1909 for orphan boys, and now serving children from low-income families across the country. The school is still funded by the trust Hershey established, and its endowment has grown to billions of dollars. The town itself continues to operate as a living tribute. Hershey, Pennsylvania, with its chocolate-themed street names, kiss-shaped lampposts, and signature scent of cocoa in the air, is both a tourist destination and a functioning community. It hosts Hershey Park, a major amusement park, and the Hershey Story Museum, which documents the history of the company and its founder. This wasn't accidental branding. Hershey intended his town to reflect his ideals: cleanliness, order, opportunity, and designed it accordingly. Unlike many company towns that collapsed after industrial decline, Hershey's long-term investments in education, culture, and infrastructure gave the town resilience. Through that design, both physical and institutional, Milton Hershey's values outlived him. His chocolate may have sweetened American life, but his town ensured those ideals didn't melt away with time. Milton Hershey didn't invent Easter. He didn't even invent the chocolate egg. But through his vision, his factory, and his town, he helped turn Easter into what it is for millions of Americans: a celebration wrapped in foil and filled with sugar. By building a chocolate empire on principles of accessibility and consistency, and by inspiring brands like Reese's to thrive within his ecosystem, Hershey reshaped not only how Americans consume chocolate, but when and why. Hershey, Pennsylvania wasn't just the setting for his success. It was the tool that enabled it, and long after his death, both the company and the town continue to reflect his belief that joy, like chocolate, should be available to everyone. In the story of modern Easter, Milton Hershey may not be at the altar, but he's certainly in the basket. For more captivating adventures and explorations of incredible places around the world, click on the video on screen now. Your next journey awaits. Happy travels!